The Easter long weekend is upon us, and many South Africans will be travelling to various destinations. The holidays come at a time when the country is facing many upheavals. Violent crime, murder, corruption, and other social ills have been a cause for concern. And of course, we are in the middle of a cost of living crisis as well. So what should Easter this time around mean to South Africans during these trying times? Let's explore this with Reverend Mzwandile Molo. He's a Deputy General Secretary of the South African Council of Churches. Reverend, good afternoon. Welcome to today here on eNCA, and thank you very much for your time.
Good afternoon, Braden, and thank you very much for hosting us.
This time, in terms of the Christian calendar, is a very, very sacred time. It's the Holy Week leading up to Easter Sunday, the Resurrection Day. It's supposed to be about hope. Is that the only thing that South Africans can draw from this time around, this Easter, amid all the difficulties I've just outlined?
Thank you very much again, Braden. Firstly, allow the South African Council of Churches to bring wishings and blessings for all South Africans, especially Christians who are going to journey through this period of the Passion Week, especially Good Friday weekend. We want to appeal to all those who will be driving to please drive safely and appeal to our people to behave in a manner in the roads and in the communities that protects life. Indeed, Braden, you are quite correct that South Africa is going through a very, very deep crisis. And that crisis is generating itself into a possible collective soul that is dominated by hopelessness and even disillusionment with where we are and what the country is going through. The beauty for us as Christians who form 80% of the country is the belief that in the cross of Jesus Christ, which hangs on Friday, we live there with two basic messages. The first message is that the love of God is so deep and so committed to who we are, that love of God is able to transcend all our weakness and all our sinful nature to reach to the best of who we are, created in the image of God. In other words, there is an invitation for all of us when we do wrong to realize that all we need is to reach back to God, for God is creating a space for us to come back into the right path. The second part of that message, Braden, is the realization that God is on the side of those who are going through many tribulations in their lives. Those who go hungry, those who are living in spaces where through mental illness, their own emotional stability is being challenged. Those who live in deep poverty, and those who live in this sense that says nobody else cares. Nobody is interested in dealing with our problems. And we are saying as the Christian community, when Christ hangs on Friday, he hangs with all those troubles and those pains. Those women who are going through gender-based violence need to remember that there is a God who knows their pain, who feels their pain, who enables them to mount in the cross, the pain and the suffering of the world. But that's not the end of it, Braden. That is transcended, that is changed when Sunday emerges, when three women go into the grave, almost feeling defeated by the specter of death, and they go into the grave and they find in the grave an empty tomb. That is the basis of our hope, the belief that corruption can never rule forever, the belief that ESCOM, in all its myriad of problems, is something that the country can engage with renewed hope in trying to make sure that those of us who've got this country at the best of our hearts, when we commit ourselves to working together, we will find solutions that are going to bring the light back into the lives of our people and make sure that that fight is not a fight simply of hope as in words, but it's a fight that comes with us acting together in our local communities, almost reaching into the faith and the hope of those three women who are able to go. But then in the country that is 80% Christian, if we can have three women, three people, three men in each and every society of our country, every block, every street, every township, every village, who's simply able to work together to change the trajectory of the country.
Yeah, because I was going to say to you, hope on its own cannot be an effective strategy. You are talking that it's up to us as people in our various communities to do something, take up something and assist others and act in solidarity. But what about our leaders? Because the fingers are also pointing at our leadership failing us at this time.
True, Braden. The story of the crucifixion is an indictment on the kind of leadership that we have in our country. A leadership that is so self-centered that they thrive when they divide us. They thrive when they steal from our own resources, which don't exist. But then who can forget, in the height of the pandemic, those who carry the responsibility to make sure that our people's lives are protected. And literally, as Bishop Kumana would say, stealing oxygen away from our people, where people die. You've just read a story where the mayorship of Gauteng is going up and down between political parties, who in many ways, when you ask the question, where is the center here? Is the center the plight of our people, or is the center their own quest for power, their own quest for their own self-satisfying patronage systems that allows them to get access to the purse of the cities, to the purse of the nation? The one who hangs on the cross, Jesus Christ, says to us, if you want to be a leader, you must be a leader who's able to sacrifice your life for the sake of the people. He's the one who says to us, but then in John, the thieves who pretend to be leaders come to steal and destroy, but those who are leaders come so that people must have life and have life in its fullness. So it is up to us, but then, to take the responsibility upon us, to remember that the leaders that we give ourselves, we are the ones who vote them into power. We must be the ones then, with the resurrection hope, we must stand up and say to our leaders, if you are not going to commit yourself into servicing our people, you are not the leader we want to have in our society. Because when we have that sense of responsibility, we're able then to change the trajectory of the country.
So be a servant leader, be a leader that can sacrifice. But as ordinary South Africans as well, we need to do our part. If there was one thing, Reverend, that you would hope out of this Easter, we as South Africans can take from the message of the cross, as you've said, going forward to improve our lot, what would be that one key message you would want to share as a South African Council of Churches?
Hope activates our own sense of activism, because in hope, we are defying those who dominate us, who makes us believe that this country cannot be changed. It is up to us as Christians of this country and as citizens of the country to stand up and say, with the hope of the resurrection, reconciliation can be done. With the hope of resurrection, when we act together, then this country will change. We cannot mortgage our country into the hands of selfish leaders, into the hands of selfish politicians. We have to resurrect the commitment we had when freedom came, to have a country where all our people can live free of hunger, free of poverty, free even of prejudice, where every child can live to its God-given potential. We must begin to resurrect that hope, and not only resurrect as an idea, but then work together, act consistently without giving in, and to make sure that those who stand up against corruption are protected in our streets, are protected in our churches, are protected in our countries, so that the criminals who even govern us through criminality do not think they've got the last word. They do not.
Thank you very much, Reverend Mzwandile Molo, the Deputy General Secretary of the South African Council of Churches, just sharing with us what they think we should get out of, or should take out of this Easter holy period. Yeah, it's a holy week, as I said, Passion Week for Christians. 80% of South Africa is, of course, of the Christian faith. Now, still ahead on today, this hour, G4S will get a chance to explain the circumstances that led to Thabo Bester's escape from his facility in Bloem.